So, the first thing I need to do is make my meatballs. And for some reason I start peeling an onion. This video is full of these little and large mistakes. I was even deciding if I want to put it up. But it shows that no one is perfect in the kitchen. We all learn by making small and major mistakes, and I think it's good to encourage that. No one is perfect in the kitchen. Anyways, when I'm done with the onion, I set it aside and get working on my meatballs. I'm putting the ground meat, mixture of beef and pork, to a large mixing bowl. Traditionally, you would want to use beef and Italian sausage, but any ground meat you have will do fine. This is about 1 kilogram, so if it seems like a lot, that's because it really is a lot. Once I have all my meat in the bowl, I peel and roughly mince about 5 cloves of garlic. This goes straight to the mixing bowl, together with 1 egg, salt, pepper, and some Parmesan cheese. Then I start mixing. I always dirty one hand and use the other one to hold the bowl or to meddle in the kitchen if I need it. When the meatballs seem mixed enough, I create one meatball to feel the texture. This one is a little too wet, so I add some breadcrumbs and continue mixing. I even had a little accident there. Oh well, I'll just add those in as well. The meatballs need some more. Now I'm happy with the consistency and start forming the meatballs. Instead of a sheet pan, I set a sheet of baking paper on the workbench. This should save some work for the dishwasher. My meatballs are pretty big, and even though I'm trying to work quickly, it takes forever to get through this. I made 33 meatballs in the end. Now, before I start my sauce, I need to brown my meatballs. There are 2 general rules about this process. First, don't overcrowd the pan, and second, brown them in the same pot you'll make the sauce in to get the foam going. I make a pretty big mistake and put way too much oil in the pot, completely disregarding the fact that the fat in the meat will melt and add to that pool. Oh well, I'll deal with that later too. Second mistake I make here is still browning them all in one pot. I know I just said you should always brown those meatballs in the one pot you'll make your sauce in, but if you have so many meatballs, doing that isn't that clever. The meatballs take some time to brown, you should do that from each side, and so when I'm halfway done with the browning, I'm pretty afraid my fond on the bottom of the pan is going to start burning. Thankfully, the new meatballs I was adding to the pot were cooling the oil down, so it didn't burn the fond. It still looks a little dark though. While the meatballs are working, I need to chop the onion I peeled earlier and mince some more garlic. When all the balls are nice and brown, I keep them on a plate on the side and put the onion and garlic in the pot. I'm cooking them until they're just about to turn brown, and then add some tomato puree paste. I let this brown, which gets rid of the sour flavor of the conservants. The liquid in the paste enables me to scrape the fond off of the bottom of the pot, so the entire pot turns much darker. When the paste is browned, I'm adding 4 cans of crushed tomatoes, salt, pepper, some chili flakes, and oregano. I'm letting it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. I am basically making a very basic marinara sauce. I also forgot to put some bay leaves in, which you should definitely do because it takes the flavor to another level. When the time's passed, it's time to taste, season, and most importantly, add the meatballs. When they're in, I'm letting it simmer for another 30 minutes. After that time's passed, there's nothing easier or more delicious than to just take one of the meatballs and see if it's done. If it's done, you get to eat it, and if it's not done, just put it back in the pot. Today, I'm doing 2 portions, so I need to boil spaghetti for 2. Now, I am not a master plater, but it tastes really nice. I forgot to top it with Parmesan cheese on the camera, but I remembered to do it before serving. So overall, spaghetti and meatballs takes about 1.5 hours start to finish. It of course depends on how quick you are and how many meatballs you're going to have, but it's a delicious meal. It's not something I would recommend to people who just came from work, because it takes a little longer to cook, but if you have the time, definitely go for it. And so as you could have seen in this video, I'm making mistakes. I'm making reckless, small, large mistakes, just because I'm not paying attention or because I thought differently. And in the end, those mistakes don't really matter. When I saw that my sauce was too oily, I just took some kitchen towels and drained the oil out. And next time I'm gonna be making spaghetti and meatballs, I'm going to first consider the amount of meatballs I have to brown before deciding if I want to brown them in one pan or two pans. The bottom line is, you don't have to be one of these superstars to be good in the kitchen. Everybody can be good in the kitchen, not godlike like they are obviously, but the ability to produce good, tasty food is to die for. I always say that there's two types of people in the world. Those who live to eat and those who eat to live. And it really doesn't matter which type you think you are, you still deserve delicious food. Now, cooking delicious food isn't hard. I've been doing it for a while now. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in the kitchen, but I wouldn't say I'm unskilled either. And so if you were to take one lesson from this video, it's don't be afraid to make mistakes, because cooking at home is easy.